Okay, hi everybody. Welcome back. I hope you had a good weekend. I definitely had it was a pretty decent weekend. I watched a couple movies. I saw Trolls, and then I saw Trolls World Tour, and then I saw Sonic the Hedgehog for the second time. Trolls is actually it's a pretty solid movie. I definitely teared up towards the end. Trolls World Tour, I liked the message of Trolls World Tour, but it just kind of felt long. Trolls 1 felt more like they had a story that they were pushing. Trolls 2 felt like an attempt to kind of sell music. There's a lot of, like, the whole plot revolves around singing, but just like, it felt like singing was really the main focus. I don't know. It was good, but it wasn't like as good. It just felt like there was a lot. I get why they needed six strings, little spoiler. Um, but just the six strings kind of made it like they even like they're like, oh, classical music, and then they breezed over like the whole classical world because they're like, oh, we don't want to draw out the story. um and then I saw Sonic again. It's a great movie. You can't go wrong with Sonic. Probably one of, I think it's the second highest ranked movie of 2020. I know that there's some circumstances, their highest grossing, there's definitely some circumstances that have affected that. But it'll take that cake. It earned it. But yeah, so what we're doing today is a little bit of thermodynamics. Today we're not super starting review. Today is more just kind of like, hey, what do you remember? And more so reactivating that knowledge. And what we're doing, the method that we're going to start kind of reactivating this is looking at tea. So we're going to use a model of thermodynamics to explain why tea is brewed with boiling water. So we're going to look at this quick little video I made, and then then we're going to look at a couple questions on a Google form. So just a little bit of background for this. I've started to drink a lot of tea during the quarantine. Tea, just because like I wanted some caffeine like towards the middle of the day, and like I every time I finish a Coke, I I drink it in my room, and then I just leave the can in the room because I don't want to go recycle it. So there's like a point where I had about like literally like 10 cans of Coke just sitting on my desk, and I was like, this is really unhealthy. And especially considering that I haven't been like working out or standing or moving that much during this quarantine, I was like, I should probably stop drinking so much Coke. So I kind of got back on the tea train. I also have another reason, for drinking the tea, in just that a lot of musicians have been doing like some like home, like there's just this whole Global Citizen did a whole like live stream all on Saturday from like 2 to 8. They had a bunch of musicians and celebrities kind of like at their homes being like, oh, I'm going to do a little like concert. But before that, prior to that, they've been doing kind of just like they had some artists be like, hey, can you do like a 30-minute set just like on Instagram or something? And just kind of like sing your songs. So one of my favorite musician, one of my favorite musicians, Hosier. Hosier has been doing some. He's had two of these concerts, and he's just drinking tea in between his sets. And I was like, oh, that seems really nice and calming. I want to drink tea, and I want to be like him. It just seems like a nice thing to do, to listen to his music, which is already very calming, and then kind of get some tea on top of that, and just kind of join him for a nice little cup of tea in a nice little calming way. And it has been nice. It's been nice and calming. Um, his little things are great. There's some great concerts. Yeah, that's kind of it. What was I talking about? Oh yeah. So really the main thing that I want to look at is when you're brewing tea. I don't know if you've brewed tea before. I made a quick little video. I'll post this video, but we can have a nice little video watch along, where we watch me. Did I even start filming? Yeah. So here's. I got my pot boiling. I want to make this chai tea. On this little bad boy, it says for the directions, start with fresh water. Let it steep for 3 to 5. Oh, boil the water. Sorry, bring it to a rolling boil, which I'm gonna be doing. and then let it steep for 3 to 5 minutes, remove the tea bag, and then you're good to go. So yeah, so I'm just gonna let this boil. I got my mug already. I got my, this is good. I don't know if people who had me last year, I had this plant. You can't see it because I'm in the way. But my aloe plant, I brought that in last year. It was there for a little bit. Tea bag, and then yeah, then we'll be in business. I guess in the meantime, I'll watch my roommate play Pokemon. Our Pokemon update. Just going through the tabs. I'm not filming you. I'm just filming the screen. Ooh, a Weevil or whatever. Dope. All right, cool. Oh, and then yeah, this is one of the things I was talking about. This Together at Home series. Beautiful. Yeah, all I've been listening to is Hosier, as you can see. He's just got good calming songs. But yeah, so this hot tea takes 3 to 5 minutes to steep, and then I was like, hey, cold brew tea is a thing where you literally just take tea bags and you put them in cold water. And so I was looking at this recipe to make some cold brew tea where you were brewing it cold. A lot of people get like ice and cold brew mixed up. Ice is you make it hot and you put ice in it. Cold brew is you literally brew it cold. So the instructions for this, do the thing, whatever, put the tea bags in there, snip off the corners, dump the loose ones in, or just put the whole bags in, they don't care. Pour in room temperature or cold water, cover the pitcher and refrigerate, steep white or green tea for 6 to 8 hours. Steep black or oolong tea for 8 to 12 hours. And you put it in the refrigerator, I believe. This may be a different recipe. I saw one earlier. Yeah. Just gonna literally refrigerator. Yeah, 6 to 12 hours in the refrigerator. So mine, warm, 3 to 5 minutes. If you're brewing it cold, 6 to 12 hours to get your tea until all of the flavors kind of come out and it's been infused. So that's kind of one of the main things that we're going to be looking at, one of the main reasons why we're going to explain this, and on the Google form explain why is that happening, why are they different. And I just kind of was thinking, like there's a lot going on here while I'm brewing this tea. There's a ton of things. So I'm going to have a little Google form and have you answer these questions and just kind of explain them and kind of reactivate, think back, what do you remember about thermodynamics? So questions I want you answering is, why does it take less time for the hot tea to steep compared to the cold brew tea? Explain why it's physically different on a particle level. So what are the particles doing? Why is it different? How did the water in my pot get warm? The water wasn't actually touching the fire, so how did that happen? Like I took a picture and then I made it small because I ended up doing more questions than I want to, but the water isn't touching the fire, so how did it get warm? How did that happen? Explain the particle method. How did this happen? Explain what happened. The boiling water was at a temperature of 100 degrees Celsius. But what does temperature actually measure? What does that mean? Like, what is temperature? Like, yes, 100 degrees Celsius, but what is that measuring? What does that mean? What's going on? Why is it more painful for me to touch the metal pot with boiling water in it as opposed to the ceramic mug with boiling water in it? So if afterwards I decided I wanted to touch the metal pot, that would hurt. And it does. It burns. But if I touch this mug, it doesn't really hurt my hand. So why is that? What's different about that? And then finally, over time, the tea in my cup sat out and got cooler. What is actually happening when something gets cooler? Explain. So what does it mean for something to get cooler? Like, how does that work? Explain what's going on. Yeah, that's kind of just the brief little questions I want you to take some time and answer today. Kind of a low-key Monday. And yeah. Yep.